Today on Kicks Chronicles, Adidas upload Yeezy page. Which ones are you going for? We rate all 15 Yeezy slated to drop from June the 1st. Cop that, stop that, and shut that. From falling in love with Kicks in 2019 to now being one of the biggest names in vintage sneakers, we speak to SneakerDenn about his sneaker history, his transatlantic upbringing, gatekeepers in the sneaker culture, and the lessons that he's learned turning his passion for vintage kicks into a profitable business. This is Kicks Chronicles. Yes, my people, big PROZECH in the building. You already know. Welcome to another episode. In fact, welcome to episode 34 of your sneaker and lifestyle podcast, Kicks Chronicles. Once again, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. First and foremost, we want to get it out of the way. Thank you for everyone that managed to check out our most recent episode with Tara Thorpe from Meet the Thorpes. Really good episode. She was absolutely amazing. So yeah, if you haven't had the opportunity to go and listen to that, go and watch that, feel free. It's available obviously on the YouTube channel, but also everywhere you get podcasts. That podcast and every other podcast we've done will be there and available. So yeah, feel free to jump in, start swimming amongst all the content that is available for you. You get me? Just go nuts. You get me? It's all there. It's all there. As you saw at the top of the show, obviously there's a couple of bits happening in the culture this week. So yeah, let's jump straight into the news. Now, for those that listened to the podcast last week, you remember that we spoke about the fact that Yeezy and Adidas have finally got back together. They brought the team back together. They buried the hatchet. The band's back together for one more run. Yeah, and I've got it on good authority that there's going to be no renegotiation after all of the shoes are sold. This is it. It's a one and done deal. But here's hoping. You never know. And I'm hoping because of that, they're going to really roll out all the biggest hits in these next few months that they're starting to bring out these shoes. And obviously talking about shoes, that's the most important thing. And that's the thing that we're going to talk about right now. It came out this week that on June the 1st, or from June the 1st, I should say, 15 Yeezys will be dropping. Now, they didn't say over what period of time. They just said 15 are going to be dropping. They threw up an image, and I've got the image on screen now so you can see what I'm talking about. But I thought it'd probably be a good thing for us to do, go through every single shoe that's slated to drop in the next few months, and let's rate them, cop that. I love the shoe. When I put the shoe back in my collection, grab the shoe for my collection, just love the shoe. Stop that, meaning the shoe's not all that, I'm not feeling the shoe, I don't really want the shoe. Or shot that, meaning the shoe's pretty cool, but maybe just not for me. But the resale on that, baby, ching. There's money to be made, my people, yeah? So yeah, we're going to go through every single one of the Yeezys dropping, and we'll have a brief discussion about each, and then obviously I'll give you my rating. So this is how we're going to go through the 15. Obviously it's quite a lot. So we're going to go from the least interesting to the most interesting, in my opinion, and we'll group them in terms of silhouettes as well. Now, starting off with an absolute dud. We have the Yeezy 380 Coverlight. Now, I actually copped this shoe ages ago when I think it first dropped. Didn't have many good things to say about it then. Don't have many good things to say about it now, to be fair. Most people say that the 380 is the most comfortable of all the Yeezys. I can't say that I 100% agree. Even though it's got the most boost, which would suggest it is the most comfortable, it's got the smallest area for you to be able to get your actual foot in. Like the gap for you to actually put your foot in is like so small. Just thinking about it gives me anxiety. So yeah, not a shoe that's high on my list. This shoe traditionally sits Like it's just that type of shoe. So if you feel this type of, or if you like, I should say, this type of silhouette, you're not going to have any trouble getting it. 100%. If you've been dreaming and waiting for a 380, you've got it, boy. You've got it. And I would probably suggest you didn't need to wait for Yeezy and Adidas to reconcile for you to cop a 380, because they're all sitting under retail on StockX right now. Yeah. So just, yeah. If that's your vibe, do your thing, but that's not for me. So I'm going to say that's a stop that on the Coverlight 380. All right, moving swiftly on. Interesting shoe. We've got the 350 V2 compact, or the 350 V2 CMPCT in the black and the white colorway. So the compact actually has dropped previously in various different colorways, but the black and white version, which in the photos that I've seen looks to be the sort of rumored black and white version, it's a different color. It hasn't actually dropped, and I think it's pretty cool, if I'm being honest. Yeah, it's a decent looking shoe. The 350 V2 compact is kind of like a more sporty version of the 350 V2. So you've got like a slightly higher collar on the ankle, and the priming is just one piece. There's no center seam. It's all one piece with the infinity lace system. So maybe built for speed. I don't know. Built for endurance. You get me? But whatever it's built for, like, it's a decent looking shoe. Nothing really to write home about in terms of resale. No resale value on the shoe at all. But decent colorway. So if you like a 350 V2 and you fancy a more sort of streamlined, speedy version, I think this may be the one for you, but it's not the one for me. So I'm gonna say stop that. Okay. Now moving on, 450. Now, looking at the picture that they put online, it looks like it's the 450 Cinder. It may be, because it looked quite grey, it may be the Cinder, it may be something else, but I'm going to go, for the purposes of the video, I'm going to go with it being the Cinder. Now, the Cinder dropped previously. I actually managed to cop the Cinder, and when I copped the shoe, it wasn't because I really liked the colorway, because the Cinder colorway is kind of a bit of a no man's land. It's kind of a grey, kind of a green. It's a bit meh, right? It was more because I was intrigued by the actual silhouette itself. And I can't lie, putting that shoe on, the 450, was an eye opener. I think it's my sleeper pick for the most comfortable Yeezy of all the Yeezys, as in everything. I think it may be. Right, you let me know what you think in the comments below. You let me know what you think the most comfortable Yeezy is. But yeah, the 450 is my sleeper pick for the most comfortable Yeezy. Didn't really see it coming, but when I put it on feet, my feet tell me. They tell me, and my feet don't lie. I'm like Shakira and her hips. What? Oh my days. As I say, it's a silhouette that I vibe with. I don't know if I feel the color, and I don't know how, because I remember when the Cinder came out, they were pretty easy to get. So I don't know if there's going to be any resale value. I don't think previously there's been any real resale hype around the 450. Maybe around the first colorway, maybe around the black. So the first colorway was the white, the second colorway was the black, I think. I think those colorways might have a little bit of resale, if any. But yeah, the Cinder's definitely not the one for resale. So ultimately, even though I think the shoe decent in terms of comfort, I'm not going for this particular version, and therefore it's a stop that. Okay, moving swiftly on to the 700 V2 Tepra. Now, don't like this shoe. Don't like this. Oh, let me be more specific. Like the silhouette, don't like the colorway. The Tepra colorway isn't the one for me. I prefer the V1 700 in terms of the shape of the actual silhouette. It's also a really expensive shoe for one that I really don't vibe with. Not really for me. And there's not a lot of resale value on the shoe as well, considering its hefty price point. So, all in all, yeah, stop that. Moving on to the 700 V1 in the Salt colorway. And as I said previously, I vibe with the V1. The V1 700, that's my jam. You can see over my shoulder, 700 there. I've actually got over this shoulder, my analog 700s as well. Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of the 700 as a silhouette. This particular colorway is a little bit middle of the road, a little bit meh, if I'm being honest. The Salt colorway, if you can imagine, for those that are listening, it's kind of white with a grayish, bluish hue. And that's it, essentially. So it's a very wearable shoe. If you were to copy it, but it's likely to be about £250, $280. Like, it's going to be really, really expensive. Not the most desirable 700 out there. And then, as I said, it's going to be really expensive. No real resale value as well, in my opinion. So yeah, all in all, a bit of a stop that. Now let's bunch some stuff together. So let's talk about the Yeezy slides. Now, everybody knows Yeezy slides are really, really, really popular. The shoes that will be dropping, or the slides that will be dropping, will be the Azure, which is essentially a sort of a strong blue, and the Onyx, which is a black. Now, unfortunately for me, and this is just for me, Yeezy slides don't fit my feet. I've got big, thick feet and ankles. And yeah, man, it just don't go so. It don't work for me. And it's a shame, because like, when I squeeze my foot in, like, the bounce is ridiculous. The composite of the materials in the rubber and whatever it is, it just makes a super bouncy, comfortable slide. But it's just the actual shape doesn't work for me in terms of me getting my feet in. But woe is me, that's life. Not every shoe you like are you meant to cop. And that is it, right? Slides, though, we know, are big tickets when it comes to the Yeezys. Big, big, big tickets. So yeah, there's going to be massive resale on these. So I will be going for them, even though I won't be able to rock them myself. And I think the Onyx are going to probably be the hardest ones to get. Blue's decent, but we don't go around seeing many people rocking blue sliders, whereas black sliders are very, very wearable. And yeah, it's a bit of a theme in terms of the shoes that will be dropping, in this particular drop. With the black shoes, black Yeezys tend to do really well over time, in terms of resale and in terms of just wearability. So yeah, a black slide is obviously going to do really well. So that's going to be a big ticket. So if you can get a pair of those, whether you hold on to them or you shot them, you're probably going to be in a good spot. So yeah, I'm going to say shot these. So let's move on to the foam runners. There's actually going to be 3 foam runners dropping. I believe it's the Flax, the Stone Sage, and a new colorway that I can't really place. It kind of looks like the mixed carbon, but it's not, because it doesn't have any of the yellow or the pink. It's kind of got more browns and blacks and blues. So it's kind of, so if you could picture a mixed carbon, but just with those types of colors, that's the kind of vibe it is. So it's an interesting looking shoe, a slightly darker colorway once again. Not the greatest color selection this time around. I do like the silhouette. It's a real Marmite shoe. I mean, we can all agree it's a Marmite shoe. Some people love it, some people hate it. But if you make the mistake of putting your foot inside that shoe, of allowing your foot to enter that shoe, bruv, yeah, it's a wrap. You get me? You may fall in love instantly. You get me? And there's no remedy to that. So yeah, even though these aren't the best colors for this particular silhouette, I still think they'll do really well in terms of resale. So yeah, I'm gonna shot that. Okay, so moving on to the Yeezy 500. Now this Yeezy 500 is the utility black. I actually have a pair of those right at the top of my unit there. Solid shoe, like nothing crazy to write home about, just a real dependable, solid shoe. In my opinion, an OG, a classic. I won't hear a bad word said about the 500. And especially in this colorway, super, super strong. I've already got it in my collection. Don't know if I'd need another pair. I don't think it's that type of shoe. I think one's enough. I think resale should be okay. As I say, it's a black Yeezy 500. So resale should be okay. Nothing crazy. So I think it's probably a shot that. I think that's probably your best bet. Let's move on to the 350 V2s. There were actually three 350 V2s dropping. You've got the Carbon Beluga, you've got the Zebra, and you've got the Onyx. Let's start with the newest colorway because it's something that's been rumored for a while. The Carbon Beluga obviously takes a lot of its inspiration from the original Beluga, but there's more darker tones to it on the upper. For me, it's a no. Don't really like this shoe. The Beluga's okay, but a darker version of the Beluga is definitely not a vibe. So yeah, it's a stop that for me. Moving on to the Onyx, as I sort of alluded to with the utility black, I kind of view the Onyx 350 V2 in a similar way to the Black Cat Jordan 4. I think people slept on it when it first dropped, but if you check on StockX right now, last sold for £425. You get me? So yeah, I think there's always going to be demand for a blacked out Yeezy. There's always going to be demand for a wearable blacked out Yeezy. And the Onyx is an actual black Yeezy. It's not like the static black, which is one of the first pairs I got, which is kind of a matte black. The Onyx is an actual black pair of Yeezys. Super, super solid. Very, very cool. And yeah, definitely think you'd be going for this. It's a smart one to go for because the resale will be strong. Even if you just wanted a second pair to sit on for a little while before you shut it, I think that might be a good play as well. So I'm gonna go for a shot that because I've already got a pair, but I might not shot that straight away. I might just hold it on for a little bit and let the market normalize. But yeah, whatever you're doing, you want to be up for the Onyx. The Onyx is definitely a good one to go for. Moving swiftly on to probably the most retro 350 V2 of all time, we're talking about the Zebra. Now, the Zebra is a Crep that always sells out. It's always going to sell out. It's super, super iconic in terms of the 350 V2. It's one of the first shoes that people will remember or will see in their mind when talking about the 350 V2. So yeah, it's definitely a popular shoe. It's not one that I see on the road very often, but still one that I know sells out every single time it drops, and it's dropped a lot of times. So yeah, I think we're going to go around and do the whole thing again. This shoe is going to drop. We're going to resell it like I've resold it so many other times before, and it's going to do decent numbers. It's not going to do crazy numbers, but it's definitely going to do decent numbers. And if this is the last time you're going to get a Zebra, I think it could do all right, man. I think it could do all right. So yeah, I'm going to say shut that for the Zebra. Now, we get to the last, but certainly not the least. We are talking about the 350 V1 in the Pirate Black colorway. Yes, I've been waiting for a 350 V1. Last year, Yeezy Day, they were meant to drop the Turtle Dove. Didn't happen. Every other time there's been a V1 drop, I've not been able to cop. I'm trying to cop the Pirate Blacks, my people. I'm trying to cop the Pirate Blacks. So I need all of your positive energy on your prayers. You get me? Like direct it towards me copping at 12.5. You get me? On the Pirate Blacks. I think for me, this shoe, it's an awesome shoe. I think it represents history. It represents nostalgia for me. And I need to have this shoe in my hands. I'm a little bit scared of this shoe because I've never held the shoe. I've never seen the shoe, and I've certainly not tried the shoe on. So in terms of like day-to-day wear, I've got an Onyx. I've got a utility black. Do I see myself wearing the Pirate Black on a day-to-day basis? I don't know, but I'd rather have the shoe and make that decision than not have the shoe. The shoe represents too much to me. I'm definitely vibing with the shoe, and I'm definitely going for the shoe. Of all the shoes that are dropping from June the 1st, this is the one. Yeah, I'm just laying it down right now. This is the one. So yeah, guys, yeah, 100% without any form of doubt, no shaking whatsoever. This is a cop that, yeah. And whether you cop it to have part of your collection or you're copping it to shut it later, yeah, you're going to do all right on the Pirate Black, because don't come back often and it may never ever come back again. Okay. So guys, we've gone through the list now. I've let you know my thoughts on every single Adidas Yeezys that should be dropping from June the 1st, 2023. Let me know which ones you're looking for, which ones you're looking forward to, and what you're going to be doing with those shoes in the comments below. If you don't want to drop me a line in the comments, holler at me on social media. I'm PROZECH on all forms of social media. Feel free to at me, and yeah, I will always holler back. Also, guys, let me know if you're vibing with the list. There's always going to be some hits and some misses. This is essentially a closing down sale. Right? They're only going to sell what they've already made, what's already in the warehouse. They're not making new shoes. So we are limited by way of what was slated for last year. That's all we're going to get. So even if the suggestion, because of there being more interest in Yeezy now, because of the sort of the recollaboration, they're not going to go back in the lab and knock off a turtle dove if it's not already in the warehouse, which I'm hoping it's in the warehouse. They're not going to do it. Right? So this may be it in terms of Adidas and Yeezy. This may be it. Right? So in general, I'm thinking better to cop, view the market, and then make your play than for you to not, because you may never get the opportunity again. Right? Just a piece of advice for you, man. Yeah, guys, that's the news. That's the end of the news. Now let's talk about our guest. This week, our guest is Dennis Mazur, aka SneakerDenn. He is a vintage sneaker collector, seller, and curator. Dennis was born in the US, grew up in France, and actually really tapped into his love for kicks and discovered his love for kicks while studying at university in London. So yeah, a well-traveled, cultured man is what we're dealing with. And that only happened just a few years ago. He's since been able to take his passion for kicks and turn it into a full-fledged business where he sources and curates some of the rarest and most sought after kicks in the world. Now, in the interview, we get into his love for the Jordan 1, the Air Force 1, and the Dunk High. He loves off a Dunk High. In fact, he tells us why the Dunk High Syracuse has a really special place in his heart. Plus, he also talks us through some of the rarest and most interesting pieces he has in his current collection. We talk gatekeepers in the sneaker culture and how it doesn't matter how long you've been into kicks, but how deep your passion is for the shoes and the culture. He also gives us insight on the things to look for when you're trying to cop vintage shoes online. Lastly, we talk about what the term sneakerhead means to him, and he ends the interview by answering some quick fire questions. All in all, an amazing guest, a really cool guy, super laid back, artsy Parisian type of dude, you get me? Super chill vibes, man. Very cool guy, but obviously super passionate about his work, about his collections, and about connecting to the culture. Just an awesome interview, one I hope you find interesting and entertaining. And yeah, I'd love to have a SneakerDenn back on the podcast one day for us to run it back. So yeah, with all of that being said, I'm your boy PROZECH. This is Kicks Chronicles. You already know. And today our guest is Dennis Mazur, aka SneakerDenn. Enjoy. Yes, my people. Big PROZECH back again, and you already know what it is, man. Kicks Chronicles, and we are here with another illustrious guest. We are here with the one and only Mr. Vintage Kicks connoisseur, curator, collector. SneakerDenn is in the building. SneakerDenn.
What's up, man?
Big boy.
Yeah,
What's
you got
kicking,
me
bro?
hyped, man.
See, that's me, bro. I get you hype, bro. Holla at me, bro. Nah, bro. I can't lie. I'm super excited to have this chat, bro, because I know you're a principality in the world of kicks when it comes to these SBs, when it comes to these Air Forces, when it comes to these like vintage amazing kicks, bro. Like, you're the guy, bro. Like, I watch your page and I see some of the stuff you come up with, and I'm like, bro, this guy is literally scouring the earth to unearth gems. You get me? Like I'm saying, like, I love that. So yeah, bro, we're gonna get into it, but what we need to do is, like we do always, man, we need to take it all the way back to the beginning, bro. We need to find out what that first shoe was, that first love. What was that shoe that sort of said to you, you gotta have me? What, take us all the way back to the beginning, my bro.
So one specific shoe, or like just a general kind of story?
However you want to do it, bro. However you want to do it.
Like all
I'm
the way
easy.
back, I would say, um, uh, like I come from a basketball like introduction into sneakers. I played basketball all my life, but like without ever having the sneaker sneaker side attached to it. I was not very conscious or of sneakers. I just obviously liked to play in dope kicks, but like never knowing what a Jordan 3 is or anything like that until like my final years at uni, when two of my close friends on my team were proper sneakerheads, and I just got curious, like, what's this whole hype around, like starting to hear things about, like, I don't know, resell, and like people queuing up for shoes, and just, but like
Bro.
from afar, and like and as soon as I kind of started hearing about these things, I asked them about it. We started talking about it a lot because it's, I got into it real quick. And then in a matter of like a couple of months, I was like, I was like on every release, like entering raffles and everything, like, and knowing everything better than they were, because it just, I just fell into that rabbit hole of sneakers,
I love it.
and and it was fun because there was the excitement of like, oh, maybe I'm gonna hit on a raffle, and that was recent. I mean, that was 2019, literally. Yeah, only a few
Okay,
years
it's only a
ago.
few
And
years ago.
like,
That's amazing.
so I really started like most people start nowadays, which is signing up to raffles, winning one out of 50 maybe. I got lucky a couple of times, but and then buying shoes with the profit that you make on the ones that you hit on that you don't really
Exactly.
want, um and so there wasn't like a specific shoe that was like, okay, this is what got me into sneakers. Like my first, uh, like I started with, I'd say the first like hype shoe that I got for my personal collection was the Jordan 1 Sports Illustrated, with the green swoosh.
Okay.
And that's because like 2019, I think that was like peak Jordan 1 hype, you know?
Oh, bro.
Yeah, because
Oh
now
my
there's,
days.
it's oversaturated, but
Yeah.
back then it was like when Jordan 1s were going crazy and were
Yeah,
still
man.
hard to get. Um,
Yeah, yeah, and the releases were super spaced out, and it was just like hype. Like I remember the hype. The Royal Toes came out around that time as well.
Rookie of the
There are a
Years came
few
out
like
around that
real,
time.
yeah, like there were a few
Yeah,
really,
yeah,
really dope kicks that like I
yeah,
was saying that came out around that time.
yeah,
So you're absolutely right. Like that was
yeah, yeah.
peak
So
Jordan
so,
1
and I'm a
territory.
size 13 US, so bigger sizes in Jordan ones. Hey, there we
Oh,
go.
with the same
Best size,
size.
man. Size 13, best size.
The hardest size.
Michael Jordan size. um, but yeah, so you being a size 13, you know that Jordan 1s are easier to get actually on in bigger sizes. Well, they're cheaper. So I just went into an Offspring in Camden, and there was a Jordan 1 Sports Illustrated sitting for retail. So that was my first like hype kind of limited
Oh, we like
sneaker,
that.
that I got for retail. And then I got my first Jordan 4, and then I got a Air Force 1 A Cold Wall, and then I started paying resale. Like I got the Jordan 1 LA to Chicago for resale. And so like 2019 is when I really started buying those shoes and really being in the aware of the sneaker game fully, yeah.
I respect it. I respect it. I respect it. I think the interesting thing, and this is something that sort of comes up every so often, but it's amazing how sneakers, like everybody's story is different, man. Some people will say, "Oh, I grew up like in my area, boom, 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 like when I was going to school, da da da," and then some people are like, "No, it was just 3 or 4 years ago. Like I saw a dude, he had a nice pair of kicks on. I was a friend. I asked him about his shoes. He told me a story. I was like, boom, I did a little bit of research, and 3 years
Yeah.
later, I've got a collection worth a bajillion dollars. Like it's so amazing how kicks
Yeah,
can just
yeah,
catch
yeah,
you at any point. And the amazing thing about the story is that every single one of them is valid. You being the sneakerhead that you caught the bug in 2019 doesn't
yeah,
make
yeah,
you less
yeah,
of a sneakerhead than somebody that caught the
yeah,
bug in 2012, 2010 or 2015 or
yeah.
whatever. It's not about
Absolutely,
time.
and
It's
that's a
about
big
passion,
thing for
bro.
me. Like, I wish I was an OG. Um, I wish I was
Mm.
around for, when dunks were, like no one cared about them. Yeah,
Two for
I
one,
wish.
yeah, for real.
Yeah,
People are just walking
but
past them,
like
yeah,
you
hundred
said, like
percent.
what matters is the passion, not how long you've been around. And it's a very relevant point that you're making, because so many old heads uh are gatekeepers,
Mm.
and are like, oh, you
Tell it,
you
bro.
weren't there. It's but bro, like, and that's really something that I'm very passionate about, arguing against, because it
100.
drives me crazy when people, just because you were there before, like, you know it's not anyone's fault that someone just discovered sneakers at a later age, but it's about what you do with that passion and knowledge today.
With the
That's what
information, yeah,
matters.
hundred
So,
percent, 100%,
and I think
hundred
that's a
percent.
very important thing, because it really comes around a lot, this kind of subject, especially in the vintage game, because people are protective of
I
it,
can
and they're
imagine.
like, I miss the old days, like now all these kids like are, but you were a
Yeah,
kid once, like no one is you know what I
yeah.
mean. So yeah, I'm glad you made that point, because I think it's a very, very important one. Yeah.
Everyone's story is valid, and nobody's
It,
sneakerhead is. Nobody has a bigger sneakerhead than another sneakerhead. Let's put it like that. Everyone's
exactly.
sneakerhead is
Exactly.
around the same size, my G. Like, no, don't get out of pocket, and don't
Yeah.
start thinking yourself too highly. Because the truth of the matter is, man, love and passion, it's true to
Exactly.
the person that's giving it. You get me? And we're part of a culture that for the most part, reciprocates in that fashion, bro. If you love kicks, kicks love you,
That's
bro.
true.
And
That's
it's
true.
one of them things where it's just like it just keeps on coming and keeps on going. And I'm not about this gatekeeping lark or whatever. Like, I'm not about this, man. Because the truth of the matter is, for me, even though I love kicks from a young age, I didn't have the funds and I didn't have the knowledge to be able to get into the game. I just loved
Yeah.
the idea of the shoe. I love the marketing behind it. I love the stories. I love the colors. I love the materials. I love the silhouettes. But I ain't got the funds. I wasn't outside. I couldn't afford to get a pair of Jordan 1s when they first came out. I couldn't afford to get any of that stuff. You get me? I could look from afar. You get me? And enjoy what I could see. You get me? But as you get older and things become more easily accessible, you take advantage and you start enjoying these things. And there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But one thing I want to talk to you about, because obviously I'm hearing a little bit of an accent. I know you said that you went to uni in London, but I'm guessing based on the accent, you may have been a foreign student. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, you get me? Because I'm saying there's some bits up north I ain't been to yet, so I don't know. But yeah, where did you grow up, man? Where did you grow up?
I was born in the U.S., which gives me that slight, overseas accent. So I was born in D.C., but only lived there for the first 4 years of my life, and then moved to Paris with my family and grew up in Paris. Yeah, so that's where my upbringing was, France.
See, this is it. That's why the guy's cultured, bro. He's been about DC to Paris. You get me? And now he's in London, bro. You get me? He's doing this thing. No, I like that. So talk to me about, obviously, you probably spent a lot of your formative years in Paris. In your mind's eye, looking back, and I know obviously you became super aware of kicks at a later age, but have you ever thought about, okay, when I was in Paris, can you see what was on people's feet? Can you see what was popular?
The thing is, I've always been drawn to sneakers. Just had no clue about the culture, but it was always something I distinctly remember. Like my best friend, when the Roche runs, or how do you call them? Roche runs?
Yeah.
Roche. Okay, because in French we say
runs.
Roche run, but whatever. Yeah, I remember like when I started seeing those popping up on a few feet in school. I told my best friend I remember clearly, I was like, these are gonna be on everyone's feet in the next within the next couple of months, and it happened, and it's not like I was a visionary, but I was fully. I was very aware of what people were wearing, and I was wearing Puma suedes, which is not the worst shoe to wear, it's a classic. And when I was
classic, bro. I love
even
it.
younger, I was wearing Stan Smiths, I like to believe before like all the Parisians started wearing Stan Smiths, like I felt a bit hip hop in Stan Smiths back in the day, but so I definitely had that kind of attention to shoes, and always was super excited when I would travel to the US with my family and buy a pair of shoes there, because there's so many more sneaker stores in like New York than in France. So I was definitely like aware of these things, and then and the truth is also in France, like sneaker culture in general is much smaller than in the US, much less mainstream. So it's not like it's in your face. I feel like if you play basketball in the US, you can't avoid it. In France, like a lot of people are now, I think sneaker culture has become so huge. Like if I was in middle school or in high school right now, I think I would have been in sneakers. But back in the day, like it was still pretty niche, I think. So it didn't really get to the mainstream schools, and you know what I mean. So yeah,
I respect that. Talking of kicks, you've given us a little rundown of what was on people's feet, what you were seeing around those times. Roche runs, massive. Yeah, for me, they were the predecessor to the Adidas
Yeah, for sure, for
Yeezy.
sure. Yeah,
That was it. That sort of almost that I'm saying like that
yeah,
light socky upper, and I'm saying that
yeah, yeah,
sturdy,
yeah.
comfortable outsole, that summer, that cool, that blah blah blah, like that was it. And the thing is for me, yeah, because obviously when the Yeezys did come out, obviously the price point for the Yeezys was like whatever it was, but the Rochers were
Yeah,
reachable. So I was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
no, I'm
yeah.
gonna get these Rochers. You get me? I remember I got a nice pair of khaki Rochers with a hot
Sheesh.
pink. So like I'm saying that, oh bro, it was nuts. I ain't even gonna lie, bro. I love those shoes, and they may have even been the wrong size. I'm not even gonna joke. But you know them ones there where you just gotta put that fit in because it's kind of freeform. So I was like, I think it was I think it was like, if we're talking US, I think it was
Mm.
like a size 12 US. Like it was like a whole size low. But it was like, oh no, I can remove the insole. Bruv, it's calm. You get me? But that summer, I went in on those shoes, but I think I took them on holiday.
Yeah,
They were a
yeah,
super, super hard shoe, man. So yeah, that's real nostalgia out here, bro. Let me ask you a question, yeah? And this is interesting to me considering your sort of like your transatlantic background. Like, did you ever have to wear shoes that were like off brand? Because like for me, right, I call this line of questioning unholy grails. Yeah. You know what a holy grail is, but these are
yeah.
unholy because they were those shoes. They were those shoes that you wore that just drew the wrong attention. You get me? Like they ended up causing all kinds of aggro because they weren't the hypest shoes or they weren't the coolest kicks. They may have even been fake. Did you ever have to go through that road before you got to that promised land,
Nah,
or
so,
was
well,
that
I mean,
something that you didn't
no,
really have to bother with?
fakes, no, for sure, but definitely yes. Okay, now that I think about it, I remember, um, uh, like this shop Decathlon. Uh,
I used to work at Decathlon. I was telling my wife about Decathlon a couple of days ago. I worked at Decathlon, and that's the only job in my life that I got sacked from. And I tell you after why.
Yeah, so Decathlon. I mean, it's you don't go sneaker shopping there, right? Exactly. And
Nah, G.
but again, like back then, I was still in this unholy phase of like being curious about sneakers, but not knowing shit about them. So and I just remember,
Mm.
it's funny because back then I was, so my fiance now, who used to be my best friend, and I remember I sent her a picture. I was like, I was at Decathlon and I tried these shoes on and I sent her a picture and I was like, should I get these? They're 40 euros. And she was like, I'm not sure. And I was like, I'm going to get them. And it was a pair of, those like, Decathlon only sells the cheaper versions of resembling shoe. They have like resembling Air Max 90s, resembling, you know what I mean? And
Yes, they do.
that was an Adidas that was resembling kind of some sort of, I don't know, like a mix between a Roshi Run and a NMD, kind of that kind of vibe.
Ah, yeah.
And yeah, so
With the
I
little,
bought
yeah.
it for 40 euros. Disgusting. Disgusting. But I used to, I like when I bought it back then, and that wasn't even that long ago. That was like 2000, I think 2016, you know? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jeez,
And
bro.
I think I got over it pretty quickly, but like when I bought it, I thought it was a cool pair. So yeah, good question.
Mm.
I haven't reflected back on that specific moment in a while.
The Decathlon is has a special place in my heart, man, because um, like I was in college and I was looking for a job and there was a massive Decathlon that opened up near my home. So I lived in Bermondsey, and there was massive Decathlon. So there was like 4
Okay.
warehouses of Decathlon that opened in my area. 4 of them. Like they used to do. One of them was like camping. One of them was like sports. One of them was like boom. Like there was different kinds of, they did like skiing stuff, bike stuff, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, I need a job or whatever, go and get a job there, right? Go through I'm thinking, oh, they're going to let me work because they've got huge stores, right? They're going to let me work. They sent me all the way to Romford, bro. Like from where I was living, which is about an hour and a half on the train. So they sent me all the way to Romford. Not only did they send me to Romford, they put me in the cycling section, bro. Oh my days. So a man's out here trying to be
Oh
fresh. You got me
no!
in the
Oh
cycling
no!
section, G. That man put me in the cycling section, like
Oh
fixing people
no!
brake calipers and stuff, man.
That's
Like
what
I
you
have
go to
no idea what
Decathlon
I'm
for,
doing,
though.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's what you go to the Decathlon for, bro. That's what you go to the Decathlon
yeah.
for, not for kicks. So I'm going there. They moved me to the store. We're in Romford now. It's taking me ages to get. I think I was late a couple of times. And my manager, funnily enough, my name is Zach. My manager was called Zach as well. And I'm saying after a couple of months, he was like, bro, it's not working out. And I was like, do you know what? You're probably right, G. You're probably right. I'm very little interested in what's going on here, bro. So it is what it is, bro. And that was the one and only time man's ever been fired, you get me? And it's never happening again. You get me? But shout out to Zach if you're still about, man. I respect you. You did what you have to do. But moving on, bro. Let's talk about this. This is what a line of question I refer to as the EST of KIC. And this is where we get a little bit more modern day and talk about your current collection, right? So and when I say EST, just for clarity, EST basically meaning the oldest, the newest, the rarest, the most
Okay. I see.
expensivest, the cheapest, the best, right? And for somebody of your caliber, should I say, yeah, this could go a lot of different directions. I'm imagining. You get me? Like, and at Kicks Chronicles, we're not about collections or how big your collection is. We're about how deeply you're connected to the culture. But when man's got a beautiful collection, we celebrate it and we celebrate you, bro. Like, so do your thing, yeah. I'm trying to understand in your collection right now, what is the oldest pair of
Okay, so
shoes
that
you
actually
have?
just today, Size. I don't know if you saw. Size did a little video with me, and
Of course I saw, bro. Of course I saw,
shout
bro.
out
And shout
Size.
out to Size, yeah. I'm waiting for my call as well, yeah. You get me? I'm available. But yeah, really, really,
Thank
very,
you,
very
thank you.
cool video,
And
bro.
yeah, and
Very,
actually
very
today
cool
they just
video.
posted this extract where they asked me that question. The oldest pair that I have is from 1983, Sky Forces, which are, the story goes that that was the first shoe that Nike sent to Michael Jordan to start kind of seeding when he was still at University of North Carolina. So yeah, pretty cool shoe from a story perspective, and yeah, I mean it's right here actually if you wanna. um,
Wowza. This is, and you know what's nuts as well? Considering obviously Air's just recently come out as well, like just hearing like more nostalgia about that,
yeah, so
that's
it's
sick,
not
bro.
the
That's sick.
craziest, like the most eye catching pair, but it has a cool historic, yeah, cool historic
Amazing
value
story.
to it, and
Yeah.
I love to put together like this pair with the airship and with the Jordan 1, and then you kind of have the whole story,
And then it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
boom. I love that. I love that. I love that. How did you just quickly? How did you come across that pair? How did you sort of get? How did that pair
I
enter into
mean,
your collection?
well, it always starts with finding out about it, which I follow a lot of archive pages, a lot of OG collectors that collect '80s stuff and everything. So when I found out about that story, a collector posted a picture of a signed Michael Jordan pair of those, and told the story that it was the first pair that Nike sent to him, and he gifted it to his equipment manager or whatever. And I was like, damn. So I just did some research, on the Instagrams and eBays of the world, and found one. That's I
Amazing.
I got my ways, but yeah, it's all about knowing what to look for. That's yeah.
I respect it. Yeah, I think a bit later on we'll definitely ask for some tips, because I'm sure there are some people out here looking to build their collections, and I'm sure there's some like advice or some pitfalls that you've experienced going through, like especially buying older pairs, like the authentication process and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
knowing
yeah.
that everything's like the way it's meant to be, sort of thing. But we'll get into that a little bit later, bro. I want to know your most recent pickup, your latest, your newest
Okay,
pair.
so in terms of personal collection, because obviously there's a bit of a distinction, I'm
It's
not
true.
gonna
It's
sit up
true.
here and
It's
say
true.
that
I
all
get
of
you.
this is my personal collection. It is my personal work
No, 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 no.
and research, but it's also a business, so it's not it doesn't count as a personal collection necessarily.
No, I appreciate
um
it. Doesn't have to be your personal collection, but it can be your
latest
personal collection.
personal
I'm not.
yeah
I'm not. I'm not. Yeah.
latest
I'm easy.
personal. um I think it would be, yeah, I posted a couple days ago, 2016 Syracuse dunks. So there's a pretty cool story around this one, because it's not a crazy shoe. It's a regular dunk from only a couple years ago. But when I started, flipping dunks late 2019, so 3.5 years ago, the 2016 Be True to Your School pack was my bread and butter. I and the reason why was, well, a big reason why was, I saw Virgil wearing the Syracuse dunks and the Michigan dunks, but especially the Syracuse. Like when I discovered dunks like that bright orange, it just, like, I was like, damn, like this is so fire, So when I started digging,
Super hot.
the 2016 pack was very good in terms of shape and quality, and was the most accessible, as in, the previous Be True to Your School releases were like 2000, and there were a few, but like it was the most accessible. There's one from 1999, but it's another level of rarity. So 2016 was more accessible, and it was a easy shoe to flip. Like I was buying these 2016 dunks up, and flipping them for double. And the Syracuse always, that was really one that's, stood out of the bunch for me. And I always, every time I unboxed a pair of Syracuse dunks that I got in, I was like, damn, these are so fire. But like, I tend
They're
to
super hot.
not get too high on my own supply. So back then, when it was really, I was buying to sell, I didn't keep one for
Mm,
myself. And then now, like 3 years later, uh, the dunk hype has definitely died down a bit, so my business has evolved as well in terms
mm.
of what I buy and what I sell. But so we're back in a time where 2016 Be True to Your School dunks are pretty easy to find for a good price. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna look them up, and I found a pair in my size for a good price. And I was like, you know what, for my own, kind of story in sneakers, like I have to have this. So yeah, so it's not a big
No,
pickup, but it's
I
a
love
meaningful
that.
one. So uh
No,
yeah.
I love that. I love that, and that's 100% the sentiment of the podcast, bro. Like some of these kicks are gonna be super hype, and some of them are just gonna
Yeah.
have an amazing story behind them, and it's your story, and it's completely valid, man. So I love, and that's the other thing. Like there were a lot of like parallels, like because I remember when I first started, because when you were describing your story and how you first got into kicks, it kind of reminds me of like for myself, I love kicks from a younger age, but I never really like, apart from like buying the odd bits and pieces or whatever. Like I never really got into it until probably like 3 or 4 years ago myself, right? Um, but one of the things I said to my wife was, okay, I'm about to get into like this kicks business. Some of these are really expensive, but the way I sold it to her was, oh, I'm going to buy ones that I don't necessarily want. I'll sell those, and with the profit, I'll buy the ones I really want. And in my mind, I was like, there are some retros I really want to get. I'm not going to be able to just cut them off the bat. And I don't see the retro releases coming anytime soon. So let me start building up my pot with the Yeezys of the world and the Dunks of the world. And when you talk about flipping Dunks for double, bro, I was in the cut with you, bro. I was flipping like a flipping fish,
So when was
bro.
that?
I tell you now, bro. So I was in the so yeah, I was like, so the Syracuse and the Kentucky
Okay.
Lows, the
So were
Brazils,
you
the
getting them for
Sambas,
retail?
the
Okay.
I was just getting them for retail. Because the thing is, this is me without any sort of deeper understanding or deeper knowledge of how far this thing goes back in terms of where I can reach to in order to sell now. So all I'm thinking about is, oh, if something's dropping now, the hype is on now. It's whether it's in JD or whether it's on End or whether it's on wherever. Let me cop that. I can see what StockX is doing. I can see what Goat is
Yeah.
doing, and let me flip that. Right, I'll put it on
Mm.
eBay. So that was my mentality. I was just learning as I was going. Right, I was just learning as I was going, and as I've gone, I've found out about so much more. And that's the reason why when you were talking about your story, I was like, I'm
Yeah.
100% the same. I don't care about no gatekeepers, bro. You get me? Just because I'm old, don't mean I was in the game for long, bro.
There's
I'm,
no right age.
I'm fresh. I'm
Yeah.
fresh. No, man, I'm fresh to the thing as well, man. But I love it just the same. You get me? Like it's just interesting that story because I got the Syracuse, I got the
No.
lows. I don't know whether you're
I'm
referring to
referring
the
to the
highs though, right?
highs. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the lows and I
Mm.
got the Kentucky lows as
Yeah.
well.
So
And now we're
those
like,
were
oh, these are fire.
the first two regular dunks that released with like the return of the dunk wave. That was like February
Yes,
2020, and the hype was off the charts. I remember Travis wore
crazy,
the Syracuse lows like a few weeks before they released. People went crazy, you know, it's just regular
madness.
dunks. I mean, uh, I understand why old heads could be in disbelief of what had happened to the market because it's just a regular dunk. It's not a SB, and it was going for like $600-800.
It's
Mad. And
mad.
and I
It
mean
was going crazy.
like my business, I was selling regular dunks predominantly. Now I've evolved towards more SBs because they're a more solid just investment
Yeah,
nowadays than regular dunks. But like, yeah, I was always selling vintage dunks, so I think it does bring out value more than just recent releases. But it
yeah,
was still crazy amounts of money for regular dunks that used to be on discount for $30. Like I was
nuts,
selling these
nuts.
pairs for like 5, 6, 700, 800, because people were hungry for dunks. People wanted dunks, and Nike
Super
started very
hungry
slowly with them. Just the
as well.
Syracuse
So
and then the
that
Kentucky and then
helped.
the Brazils like once a month,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
real gradual, and then
Let's speed
somebody in
this
night
up.
was like, "By the way, this is a cash cow, and we need to start
Yeah.
milking this." So yeah, and then they started just going mad, bro, and then panda.
Yeah.
So yeah, like no man. So yeah, it was just interesting how your story resonated with me
Yeah.
because I was like, nah, there's so many parallels, bro. But let's mosey on down here, right? We've done oldest, we've done newest. What's the rarest pair of shoes you have?
Rarest.
Hi there. So nice to see you. Sorry to interrupt the pod. I'll be literally 30 seconds. I just wanted to say thank you for being here. And also, if you enjoy the pod, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. It really does help. Also, if you're listening on an audio platform, feel free to give us a review, whether it be positive or negative. Just leave a review. We really appreciate it. Also, feel free to listen to our old episodes. And if you ever want to get in contact, if you want to let me know what you're thinking, feeling, or whatever, holler at me. My name is PROZECH on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm enjoying TikTok at the moment, so feel free to holler at me. I will always holler back. And with all that being said, I'll let you get back to the pod. Toodles.
Rarest is 1 of 10. It's a very obscure, like not many people know about it at all. It's a dunk. Heiko Zalman. He's a German graffiti artist, and he did a little. You wouldn't know. I mean, it's a very very niche. It wasn't even a release or anything. It was they auctioned off 10 or 13. I read 10 or 13 pairs, and depending on the sources, for the it's a
Is that the
gray,
silver? Is
all
silver
gray
pair?
pair. Yeah, all
Great,
gray
yeah,
pair with lasered
yeah.
like kind of squares and lines on it, and
That's very cool.
yeah, it was like a charity pair. They did an auction with Nike for charity. Yeah,
That's
and
very
yeah,
cool.
it's a cool pair. But yeah, nothing too crazy. Yeah.
Now that's all good. That's all good. What is your most expensivest pair?
Um, Probably I would say the 1985 Chicago's, because they're brand new. So yeah, DS.
You got kicks that are as old as me
Yeah.
that are DS. Where did they put them?
Hey,
The freezer,
I
bro.
mean,
How
there's
did that
more of them
happen?
than you think. There's more of them than you think out there. Oh yeah,
And they're
I
still
mean, you
holding
could
up.
wear them right now.
I think ones hold up better than
So
like threes and
once
fours, right?
Dunks,
Yeah.
Air Forces, because they have that, stitched sole and no air bubble. They're
Yeah.
good to go unless they've been stored improperly, like in a moist or whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes then the sole can harden and it's not wearable or whatever. But generally speaking, if it's been stored correctly and it hasn't been worn, they're good to go. And that Chicago pair I have is pristine, like it's ridiculous. So yeah, I'd say that one. And
Wow.
value wise, it'd be in the $20,000 range, somewhere around that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
buddy. Don't holler unless you ain't got that paper, G. Alright, bro. Yeah, no, that's super hard, man. The Chicago is
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
is the one. It's the one, bro. Like obviously the Lost and Founds recently dropped, and that Chicago colorway to me is the
Yeah.
best. Is the best colorway for the Jordan 1. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
super,
And
super,
actually,
super
talking
hard.
about
Like I
Chicago's,
absolutely love
and
that shit.
coming back to the most recent pickup, the Syracuse, I got them in hand already, so that's why I thought of them. But the most recent pair I bought, I haven't received it yet, is the Chicago 1.5s.
What's a
So it's a
Chicago
Jordan 1. It's a Jordan 1 with a
1.5?
Jordan 2 midsole. And
Oh
and
my
yeah, and I'm very excited
days.
about this one because it's a Chicago but a bit different. Um and Michael Jordan actually wore a Jordan 1.5 when they were like testing out different soles for his Jordan, because he wore a Jordan 1 with a dunk sole as well at some point, and he wore a Jordan 1 with a
Oh,
Jordan 2 sole at some point as well, because he had like a foot injury and they were trying to figure out the best, shoe for him or whatever. So yeah, and they made a release, I think it was 2015, and I'm, yeah, pretty excited about this one.
wow, bro. I'm actually looking at a picture of it now.
It
That is
is an
super interesting,
interesting.
and
I mean,
it
it's,
actually
yeah,
works.
it's definitely a Jordan 1 looks better than a Jordan 1.5. I'll give you that all day. But I
Mm.
love the kind of the story and the fact that it's a rarer shoe to
Yeah,
come around, and I like the slightly different, yeah,
that's very
yeah,
cool. I like that kind of stuff, man. It's like people will look at it quickly and think, "Oh,
yeah,
that's just a Jordan 1 Chicago." But
yeah,
then the more discerning eye are
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
look at
yeah.
it again, and it's layered, right? It's one of them things, one of those films where it's like you have to watch
Yeah.
it two or
Yeah.
three times before you get all the meaning.
Exactly,
It's like you look at the
exactly.
shoe
There's
first and you see one. You look at the
exactly,
shoe a couple more times and then you start seeing the
exactly.
different. You're like,
When
that's
there's
very cool.
multiple
That's
layers
very,
to it,
very
it,
cool.
it makes it more interesting. So yeah,
No, that's awesome, bro. That's awesome, bro. What are your cheapest pair of shoes?
Cheapest. I've bought some stuff for steals, man. Um, I wish I had it in front of me right now, my collection. But I don't know. There's a Air Force One that I recently picked up for like probably 50 or 60 pounds. Um, that's like I'll send you a pic, but it's like a gradient grape midsole. You know the Busy P Air Force Ones with the so they have
No, I ain't
the
got that one.
gradient rainbow midsole. Well, this Air Force, the Air
Uh-huh.
Force One that I picked up,
Ah, yeah.
is a similar midsole, but like from purple to like blue pink. You know, it's this kind of gradient, and it's just a regular release from a
Oh,
couple
okay.
years ago. But picked it up. You know, never see that pair. Super fire, and found one dead stock for like 50 pounds. So yeah, that's the cheapest.
Bro, you do your thing, bro. You do your thing. Give me an understanding. What is if you're just running out, if you're just gonna like run out your house, yeah, and you're just grabbing a pair of shoes because you're just running out, right? What are those shoes?
uh just running out, like, where am I going?
You might literally be going to the shops to get some
Okay,
milk
okay,
or to
so
get some to get
so
I'm saying some
okay.
bread, like nothing
Yeah,
crazy. You
yeah,
don't
yeah,
need.
yeah,
It's not
yeah.
a whole fit thing. It's a thing of I'll just
Okay, yeah.
grab and I'm
Probably
like,
either like a Dunk Low by You that I made with like white and purple that I beat to the ground and like don't care about. Yeah, yeah, that one. Like, if it's a rainy day and I'm just going to the
I
post
respect.
office or something, yeah, that's the one I'm putting on.
I hear that, and I guess you're probably going to the
Well,
post
yeah.
office pretty often, bro.
Thankfully, I got DHL coming to pick up. I don't have to. I don't have
Holler
to.
back,
I used to, though. When I started, that was a daily trip to the post office, and it's
bro.
crazy. And it's crazy to
This is
think.
what I'm saying,
Yeah,
bro,
yeah,
because
yeah. And
that's what I
it's
had to
crazy
go.
to think, especially, and when the business really picked up, it was the very start of COVID, and obviously COVID was a great time for
Mm,
online businesses like Instagram and stuff. So I just remember like going to the post office, queuing up there with like 10 boxes, and everyone's in masks, and especially at the
ah,
beginning, like the queues were huge because like the post offices were closed for like three
yeah.
weeks or something. So then, yeah, just
Most
crazy
of the
to
day,
think back
yeah.
to those times. Yeah.
So, bro, let's talk about outsole a little bit and your business in general, man. Like, obviously, you've already alluded to the fact that it sort of started a few years ago and sort of the reasons why it came about. But like, just give us a little bit more understanding on the business, your plans for the business, like what some highlights, what's been going on. Talk to us about
Well,
outsole.
outsole is kind of parallel to my sneaker. Well, it goes hand in hand. Obviously, it's my brand
Yeah,
um, that my goal with the brand is very similar to my goal on Instagram. Apart from selling shoes, is also to, well, educate and tell stories about sneakers. That I love, and outsole is just another way of doing that through clothing. Um,
mm,
and I started outsole 2 years ago, and last summer I uh, did my last drop, and I haven't made any new drops since, just because I've been kind of trying to refocus on what I want to do with both my brand, my social media kind of presence, and everything. That's why I recently started a YouTube channel. So I in the past like 6 months, I've been in a transition period, so wasn't really focused on
hear
outsole,
that.
but I'm definitely hoping to bring it back, because I think there's definite potential for the brand. I think it's there's no well, to my knowledge, there's no brand that buy sneakerheads for sneakerheads, like as
Yeah,
um uh how would I say, um, uh, you know, like you have Nike and Adidas, which are sneaker brands, but they don't tell sneaker stories. They're not like they don't tap into
Mm,
nostalgia through clothing or anything like that. And when they do, it's not very subtle. Like I wouldn't say that Jordan brand or Nike are the best at, you know, they're very good at designing shoes. They're not that good at designing like cool clothing, you know what I mean? Like people dress in other stuff
mm,
usually.
mm,
So in terms of streetwear.
mm.
So I'm trying to, you know, bring elements from what we love in sneakers, like logos and colorways and um you know, fonts and stuff that kind of trigger you know, references and memories, and bring them into a streetwear brand. But yeah, hopefully I pick that up again soon, because yeah, I definitely think there's something to do there.
Awesome, bro. And like you've basically said in terms of like your social media journey. Obviously, you've got like a very significant following on Instagram, and obviously that's probably a lot to do with like your business and buying and the selling of the kicks. But you recently jumped onto YouTube, and I even saw that you've got a TikTok going as well. So, like, what are your plans in?
uh,
What are your plans in terms of social media moving
uh,
forward? Like, what are you
TikTok,
planning?
I
What are you planning
never
to do?
got it. You know, it's never been my thing. I don't spend time on TikTok, so it's difficult to, you know, I don't follow, like I don't have a community on TikTok. I don't participate in any community on TikTok, so it's difficult to really yeah, be active on there, and it's just not really the format that works best for me. um YouTube, I it
Hmm.
was an idea that I was you know, thinking about for a long time, and I always had a kind of something holding me back, like just of speaking in front of a camera, and like I think 2 months ago was the first time I posted a reel with my own voice on it. You know what I mean? Like I used to
Wow.
I used to hate doing reels anyways, and I still kind of do. I prefer doing pictures. Like it's just more, it's not that it's more easy, it's just I like it more. But so reels is not my number
Mm,
one option, and narrating with my own voice even less so, you know, because I don't know, I was afraid of like using my voice and showing my face, like you just have to be comfortable on camera. And then I just had a kind of
mm,
shift, like okay, now I feel like it's the, you know, my next step moving forward is to be more active as a, you know, a presence myself, not just taking pictures, but like putting myself in
mm,
front of the camera and telling these stories. And I think that YouTube gives me a much better platform than TikTok, for example, for what I want to do, which is uh, not like post 30-second videos, but really go into details of the story and history around around the pairs that I sell. So, and I think, and also YouTube doesn't really. I don't think that there's any YouTuber out there doing that. So I think
exactly. And
there's
this
a
is a
lane
point I was
there,
going to
which
make.
hopefully I'm going to be able to, you know, take.
No, I appreciate that, man. And I think even just hearing what you're saying, and I was thinking, because I'm fairly active on YouTube, um, and I sort of get about in terms of the sneaker content creators that are out there. And I think what you're saying is absolutely right. I don't think there's one that is focusing on the sort of the more vintage, just telling those stories and giving us that fuller understanding of the history behind certain shoes and why these shoes are cool, as
Yeah,
opposed to just sort of the hype. There's a lot of hype
yeah,
stuff that goes on YouTube, which is fine. It's all good. It's gravy. But there's other space for other things, and I think YouTube is a great platform in the sense that you can find you can find your people there. You can find your tribe. You put out good content, and they'll work their way towards you. And I think obviously you've got a little bit of a head start because you've got a decent following on Instagram. You can start that process of trying to migrate those people that are on Instagram, and they're not all going to be able to go over, but some of them people are going to want to see
Yeah.
something a little bit more long form from you, a little bit more understanding on certain things, and that's going to
Yeah.
be a really cool journey as well,
Well,
man. So
thank you.
yeah, congratulations, man,
Thank you.
because it's
Thank you.
exciting stuff, bro. And yeah, man, it's exciting stuff. It's exciting stuff. You alluded to it earlier, man, but let's talk about you recently did a piece with Size. How was the experience, bro?
I do think it's very cool that they're tapping into the real culture and interviewing people. Like they've done a few
I do
cool
agree.
bits with other collectors, and I think that's really cool because it shows that they have that will to stay connected to the
I
culture.
think
And
there's a lot to be said for Size because they have gone a different route to other brands. They have gone a little bit more like this is the story behind the shoe, and
yeah.
they've focused a lot more on that, and they have engaged with people like yourself who are legitimate and authentic within the space that will bring eyeballs for that same thing. So it is consistent. But then I have to, because I alluded to it earlier, and we need to talk about it because obviously your business is about sort of curating and acquiring sort of vintage shoes. And I'd imagine for a lot of people that are out here trying to build their collections or trying to get, like, they've probably seen a shoe in a picture and like, I really want to get that shoe. So they maybe not have the experience of buying a lot of shoes. They may just be buying that one. Like, is there any advice that you can give a person that's trying to buy potentially a vintage pair of shoes or an older pair of shoes, like the things that they want to sort of be mindful of, or potential pitfalls, or just some good advice?
Well, I'd say there's a huge community on Instagram of vintage sellers, for example, which it's not hard to track down. You follow one, and then it suggests you like three other accounts. You click on that one. You know what I mean? Like that's how I started. And
Mm,
you kind of if you're into vintage kicks and eBay, for example. I mean, obviously eBay and Depop, like and stuff like that are, it's no secret, like you can find some gems on there. um but if you really want to like tap into what's going on and kind of really follow closely, like when there's a shoe that drops, because I'm not the only one doing this, obviously, like there's tens of sellers like this.
mm,
So my advice would be like Instagram is the place for that. Tap into all these sellers, and then buy from trusted sellers, and there are many out there. And generally, the
mm.
cool thing with vintage is that it's unlike the hype culture, which is so big that you get a lot of in there as well. There's a lot of scammers in sneakers. There's a lot of
Mm.
fakes and things like that. In the vintage niche, much less so, because it's a
I'd imagine,
community which
yeah. I
is
think you're probably,
much more
yeah,
truly
yeah,
passionate about what we do and everything. So
yeah.
I definitely, like, if I had one advice, it would be, buy vintage rather than buying the hype stuff coming out now. It's more fun. It's more unique. There's less risks. Sometimes and oftentimes it's cheaper. Not always, obviously, depending on what you're buying. If you're buying some MF Dooms or like
Mm-hmm,
Heinekens or whatever, obviously it's not going to be cheaper. But you're getting something that's more unique, and there's
mm.
you're part of a community, and it's pretty easy to navigate because of the network. A lot of sellers, all of them are connected. All of them, we all work together, buy from each other. Um, so yeah, and also another one, obviously, Facebook groups is definitely still a thing. And like I said, like in
I've
the
heard,
vintage
yeah.
game, you're much more safe in terms of fakes. There's much less chances of getting a fake than in regular sneakers. So
That makes all the sense in the world because I think with the fake game or with the guys out there that produce fake shoes, their aim
yeah.
is fast money, right? So they're not going to go out of their way to start developing sort of rare and vintage shoes that could potentially have a high price point,
And also, it's
but
so
are
difficult
likely
to
to
replicate.
only
It's so
sell
difficult to
one.
replicate.
This is it. Difficult to replicate. They're probably only going to sell one. The authentication process for somebody buying those shoes, because the price point is slightly be higher, is probably going to be more stringent. They're going to probably know what they're looking for. So being able to convince them that it's real is going to be
Yeah.
difficult. It's like there's so many reasons
Yeah.
from a
And
faker's
there
perspective to not want to go
yeah,
down that
and
route.
there are
So it makes a lot of
actually
sense.
fakes that were made back then, which is crazy. Like there are fake Jordan 185s.
Plot
There
twist.
are fake, like
Plot
I
twist.
have had some random like a few, but I have stumbled across a few fake vintage sneakers, and it's from back in the day, so not made today, made back
Wow.
in the day, but you can tell straight away. That's the thing. Like the label is off, or the material is off, or the shape. Like it's not like today where it's literally the same shoe, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult nowadays, bro. I can't, like, yeah, I can't say that I'm a sneaker authenticator, but like nowadays, like because of how we're almost entering into the world of fast fashion where Nike are producing shoes at such a rate that their
Yeah,
quality
yeah,
isn't even meeting the required standard. So from a faker's perspective,
yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
even have to be that good in order
Yeah,
for them
and
to get through.
yeah,
To like
and when you
the
look at
standards
the
are so
fact
low
that
now.
StockX gets blamed for letting through fakes, I'm 100% sure they're not doing it on purpose, and I'm 100% sure that StockX
Yeah,
is probably one of
obviously,
the
yeah.
best authenticators out there, in my opinion. Like they're
Interesting.
the biggest on the market still. Like there's no question. When you want to
Mm,
check
mm.
for a shoe, you go on StockX. You know, and everyone does that. StockX is the biggest marketplace for sneakers, and I don't see any reason why they would be lazy on authentication. It's in their own interest of being the best possible at authentication, and
True.
they are the reference marketplace for sneakers. Like Goat and eBay, they're behind StockX. So if they make mistakes, I think everyone does, and that just shows you that it's a dangerous game out there in terms of fakes. So
It's a dangerous
that's
game.
just my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah. I think StockX are definitely the whipping boys. I've been known to give them the business once or twice on this channel as well. Because I think I think for so long they were sort of held as like as the blueprint, as the cornerstone, as the what they say goes sort of thing. And obviously they've had some high profile
Yeah.
issues in
Yeah.
the like past year or so, and it sort of shone a light in it, or shone a negative light sort of thing. I mean, they are a business, and things will change, and things will happen, and the way that they work and the way that they do things will change. I'm glad that there is competition, and
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
competition
Yeah.
is healthy for any area. I think for a long time they were the top dog, and I think businesses like eBay and like Goat are stepping up,
Yeah, for
and it's
sure, for
keeping
sure, for
everybody
sure.
honest, and that's the most important thing
Yeah.
for the sneakerhead. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
about. I'm feeling that. Um, okay, so let's do something a little bit weird.
So,
A little bit weird. I'm gonna ask you a couple of weird. I'm gonna
all
ask you a
right.
couple of weird questions. Like
A little
not
bit,
super
just a little
weird,
bit.
like but just like a little bit, right? Your
Oh.
your house is on fire. You can only
I
take
think
one.
you've asked this question
What are
to
you getting?
George or something, right? And I was like, damn, like what? Why this question? Um, okay, one shoe.
Your house is on fire. You can only get one.
That's
What are you getting?
I mean, I don't know. Like I guess it would be Chicago's, just because of everything combined, like the historic value, the monetary value. Like if there's one shoe, yeah, I'd say that one. Yeah.
I respect that. That's a massive. That's
I'm
yeah.
not gonna go
That's
too deep
super
into it.
hard.
Like, yeah, that's the obvious thing that I'm thinking about. So, yeah.
Cool. If you had to wear one pair of shoes for the rest of your life, in every occasion, in every scenario, those are the shoes that are on your feet. What is that pair of shoes and why?
Every occasion.
Think, bro. Think. You need something that's
Yeah.
gonna cover everything.
Uh, I don't have it in my personal collection, but if I had to like choose
Mm-hmm.
one shoe, maybe I'd go with yeah, black and white. Oh, pandas. Nah, but none of the recent stuff. There's this pack from 2008 which is called the vintage dunk pack, which is it has kind
Mm,
of a 1985 feel to it, like very big swoosh, and the main thing is why it's vintage is because they pre-yellowed the white panels. So there was this trend recently, like
respect it.
during COVID especially, of like customizing your shoes and like making them yellowed. Yeah, coffee and stuff like that.
Coffee.
These
Yeah,
actually
coffee.
came
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Well, Nike made it first, 2008, and the shape is nice, materials are nice. It has this vintage feel, black and white, classic, vintage. So yeah, I'd go with those. I'm a dunk high guy over dunk lows. So, and you can literally wear it, it's like a Jordan 1. You can wear it with anything, with a suit, with shorts, with
100%.
jeans, whatever. So yeah, that
It's a
I'd go
smart
with those.
choice. It's a smart choice. And you know what? And last in the weird and wonderful, and this is my favorite, and this is one that I definitely did ask George. It's called
Okay.
Desert Island Kicks. Dennis, you are stuck on a desert island and you don't know how you got there, right? All you know is that you've got two pairs of shoes with you, right? Remember, you're on a desert island, right? Everything else is up to your mind to put together. What I'm trying to understand is what two pairs of shoes do you have with you on this island and why?
So am I deciding to take them with me to the island?
I don't know how they got
Is
there,
it like a survival thing? Like,
but
what are
they're
the
there.
two best pairs to like something like that, right? Um,
There's
uh,
no right or wrong answer, bro. It's whatever comes from your mind.
um, and that's a tough one.
I love it.
Ah, I mean, it has to be something like solid but comfortable. See, the thing is, like in my collection, I literally have Air Force Ones, Dunks, Jordan 4s,
Mm-hmm.
Jordan
Mm-hmm.
5s, Jordan
Yeah, man.
3s. Like
Come on.
it doesn't get more classic.
Come
Like
on.
that's literally all I have. So none of these shoes are good shoes for survival on an island. I don't have any like ACGs or like super comfortable. They're all uncomfortable essentially. So I'd say, oh man, I don't know, man. Like I literally don't. If I had an Air Max, I would say an Air Max. So I run fast. I'm comfortable. Um, yeah. I'd say yeah.
I'll let you. The thing is, I'll let you come outside your collection. You
Okay.
don't have to stay in your collection.
Um,
Yeah.
man, I don't even know. Like honestly, I can't come up with anything on this one. Or
But you're saying an Air
give
Max.
me
An
an
Air Max is
angle
a
so
smart.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, okay. So like you're definitely gonna need something that's gonna be able to be worn land and sea,
Okay. Okay.
right? Remember, it's
Okay.
likely to
Okay.
be a
Okay.
sandy
Okay.
beach involved. You may have to climb and get a coconut once or twice, or you may have to bust that
I
coconut with the
see. I
heel of
see.
your
I
shoe.
see. I
Like
see. I
there's
see.
so many. You get me? Like there's so many angles. Another angle you may want to consider is you may get rescued, and you may want to drip when you're getting
Oh
rescued,
wow.
bro.
Okay. Okay. So you
Some
said
people
two
think
pairs.
like that, bro.
One of them. Okay.
Two
One of them is
pairs.
gonna be a Timberland. Okay. So I
I
haven't worn
respect it. I
Timberlands in a
respect it.
while, but I used to, and I love the look. Like, especially like the New York vibe. I mean, I don't know if you saw ASAP Rocky yesterday running in Paris in the pair of Timberlands. It's just a look. So Timberlands, it's solid. Your feet are gonna be protected in Timberlands. So so
Protected.
Timberlands, and then on the
Protected.
more like a versatile, light, comfortable shoe. Maybe how about the React Elements? I used to have a pair, and
Okay, I respect
for
it.
I got a pair like at the very end of the React Element hype, and probably wore it like 5 times, and they're like, I was
Yeah.
like, nah, these ain't it. Um, yeah, but there
I
was a
sold mine.
moment like for a year they were
There
so
was
hyped,
there
especially
without a
with the
doubt there was a
undercover
moment.
collab.
There without a
There were a
doubt there
few.
was a moment.
I remember, like, I was just
Yeah.
starting to get. That was probably like 2018, 2019, and that was a
Mm,
comfortable shoe. The React midsole and like translucent
yeah.
upper. Yeah. So let's do that. Timberlands and React Elements.
No, I respect that. No, that's super hard because the other thing as well, because of the
Yeah.
comfort
Yeah.
technology, like it's smart. I'm
Yeah.
saying like
Yeah. Yeah.
light
Yeah.
upper
Yeah.
as well. Like it's a smart shoe, and then you've got the
Yeah.
literally the complete opposite with the Tim, because the Tim's got that solid base
Yeah.
and that protective shell.
Yeah.
Come on now. No, I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Tim's making another appearance because somebody else recently said Tim's. I think Bolly the Bear said Tim's as well. Shout out to him. Yeah, Tim's are an appearance, man. I'm thinking someone's telling me to pick up a pair of Tim's. Can I get your opinion on these?
Ooh.
I just picked these
Yeah,
up.
I was
Right.
seeing
So
seeing them
these,
in the corner there.
yeah. So so these, for those that are listening, these are the
Oh yeah.
Run the Jewels. Run the Jewels. It's the Run the Jewels low Nike SB. Um, like out there colorway. Like I have to be real. Like hot pink swoosh, like different shades of blue, like blue translucent midsole as well.
Yeah.
But like very
It's
cool,
yeah,
very
I
cool. Like
it's a fire colorway. On like can't say that it's not like the midsole and the pink and blue. It's fire. Not for me though.
my this is the question I wanted to ask you in terms of like your business. You're a lot of times you're looking back. Do you ever at any point look and see something that's come out today that you're like, I think this has got some staying power. I think this has got some legs.
Nah,
I'm gonna hold on to this because
not
I
at
think
all.
in.
Not
Do
at
you not
all.
do that?
Yeah, not at all. It's just not my game. And uh,
Mm,
you know, the thing is, like, if it only makes sense if you buy, if you want to hold and you're like, okay, this is a good investment on
mm,
the long run. It only makes sense if you buy like bulk, if you
yeah,
buy 20, 50 pairs, because otherwise you can't
I
sell it
hear
straight
that.
away. It's still the value that you bought it at. So
Yeah.
uh nah, yeah, yeah,
No, I respect that. I respect that. It was something I wanted to ask because I know some people like are of the mindset that I'll buy a couple of pairs. I'll buy one to rock and I'll buy one. I'll keep it on ice, keep it as an investment. It's going to go up in the future. You're taking a chance, obviously, but certain people are going to have different opinions on different things. Like I think for you, to base a business on it, it kind of has to be. Like, I need sure things. I need things that are gonna definitely bang. I can't really take chances in that way. You get me? Because of it, ultimately, you could hold a pair of shoes today that you think are gonna bang in the
Yeah, and
future,
it's just
and
like
they
it's,
just could
you're
just
freezing
flatline.
capital on it's
Yeah, there's a lot of
I
reasons
mean,
not to do
business
it.
is always about taking risks, but like uh yeah,
Mm.
the long game like that is not so much my game. So yeah.
Um, in a similar vein, obviously, a lot of your focus is on the vintage, but talking about the modern day, like, are there any sort of um designers, collaborators, shoes that have come out recently that you're like, okay, I'll keep an eye on this. This is definitely fire. Like, any that sort of pique your interest in terms of, like, yeah,
Um
what's going on now?
Definitely some things I appreciate. I'm I can, I still always keep an eye on what's coming out. Obviously, I'm following all these sneaker accounts and everything, so I'm very aware of what's going on, and I have my opinions on all the releases. Like sometimes I'm like, yeah, this is cool. Sometimes I'm like, nah, this really, very lazy on Nike or Jordan's side. But um is there anything that really trying to think, like, okay, like the Futura off-white dunks that were auctioned off through Sotheby's. I'm a big fan of Futura
Yeah.
because of the vintage side of things, the dunks that he's done, and just
Hmm.
him as a player in this space. Like, I love Futura, so I would have loved to get those if they had released, so, and I'm a huge
Mm.
Virgil fan, and I wasn't
Yeah.
consuming his products. I have one pair of off whites that I bought after he passed away, because I needed to have one in my collection, and that's the rubber dunks, black and
Mm.
green. Um, but uh, yeah,
That
it's
is a
yeah.
pair, bro. Like, that's what I refer to as a Marmite shoe.
And what
It's
do you,
either
do
you
you
love
love
it
it
or
or
you
hate it?
hate it, bro. I hate it. It's a terrible shoe. I've got a friend here, and he's got
Yeah, yeah,
the silver
yeah,
blue.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know
yeah.
if it's the UNC pair. Anytime I see him wearing that shoe, but the thing is, that shoe, the rubber dunk, like, because I got a pair when they first came out, because I was just
Yeah.
like speculating. I didn't know what was gonna bang. I didn't. When I got that shoe, and I was like, nah, this ain't the one. Ever since, people have been like, nah, that's one of my favorite shoes. That's one of my favorite shoes. That's one of my favorite shoes. And I think you needed a bit of a future eye to really get that. You're a very, very, I would say, you're French. You're a connoisseur of the thing. Your style's a little bit different to me. So I'm like, I get you. I'm saying, and those guys like that are up there, like, I get it. But me, that I'm just
Nah,
regular me,
I
like,
think
no,
they're
that's not
they're
one for
a
me. But I hear that.
wearable silhouette. But yeah, I get it. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of them when they came out, but they're actually really fire. But anyways, like,
Mhm.
yeah, I was a big, and I am a big Virgil fan, but not necessarily buying his products, because it's hype culture, and I have trouble wearing stuff that could, you know what I mean, like, I don't see myself as a hype beast. So if
Yeah.
90% of people wearing these shoes are hype beasts, I'm gonna relate to it less.
I
Although
don't
I
really.
mess with it.
This is it.
Um,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
and like, yeah, I'm trying to think what gets me excited in recent releases. There are definitely some things. Um, but then I never end up buying. Like, I I think, ooh, that's maybe one that I'm gonna get, and then I don't get it, because because just
That's fine.
you stand out more by, like, at the end of the day, when we wear sneakers, like, in my opinion, some people say, like, you wear it, you buy and wear sneakers for you, not for others, and that's true. But a big part of what goes into your personal sneaker experience is how you communicate your own style and taste. And if you're wearing, for example, like I thought the Lost and Found Jordan 1s were great. Like I thought, that was a very good release. Like the box, the packaging, the aging and everything. I thought that was dope, But how many people are wearing them? And that it doesn't take away from the how good the shoe is, but it does take away of how unique what you're wearing is, so that's why I'm not buying them,
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that.
but yeah.
Yeah, like, obviously, like I was saying earlier, the Chicago to me is the number one colorway. So when the Lost and Founds came out, I didn't hit. I know a lot of people that did. I did not hit. So I had to go resell to get them. But I'm glad
That's
I
gonna
did,
go
man,
up in
because
time. That's gonna go up in time.
I was looking. Yeah, I think it probably will, and also, like, it's important to me to have the shoe that I think was the one that was like, that's the genesis. And that's important to me from my story. You get me? Like, so I appreciate that. Okay. I want to do some quick fires. Now, Dennis, I have to be honest with you, yeah? You're a very cool, calm, laid back Parisian guy, like just chilled out, yeah? But when it comes to these quick fires, yeah, I need it off the cuff and I need it hot and heavy.
Okay, let's see it.
You hear where I'm coming from? Like, you're picking up what I'm putting down, bro. That being said, I don't read very fast, so okay. You're in good hands. You'll be fine. You get me? Like, but if you are ready, I'm ready, right? And we're gonna start in 3, 2, 1, and starting as always with a big one: Nike or Adidas?
Nike.
New Balance or Adidas?
Neither.
I knew you were going to say that. But this is an important question. Can you wear Nike and Adidas together, yes or no?
Wear both together?
At the same time?
No.
Okay. Do you have a Jordan number? If so, what is it?
As in, what do you mean by Jordan
number?
numbers?
So, a silhouette that you vibe with the most?
Jordan 4.
Love that. YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok?
Instagram. For sure. Nah, for sure. I hesitated. No question. Without Instagram, I'm nothing. So
yeah, Instagram. You only hesitated for a second. Trust me.
Yeah. Nah, sorry, Instagram. Please, don't.
That's hilarious. All right, what is your favorite collaboration? And I know you're gonna go through your mind, but talk to me, man. What's your favorite collaboration?
Man, there's so many ways to go about it. Like, okay, if we go vintage, I'll go with Futura Flom Dunks. It's just, such a legendary pair.
Super hot.
But I could also go like Virgil on on a pair, just because of the significance he had on sneaker culture and what it's become today. So yeah, but yeah, let's go with the Futura Flom Dunks.
Good start.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to come back and have a little chat about Virgil just after. There's a question I want to ask you about him a little bit after we finish with these, right? But back to the quick fires, and we're going back again. Vans or Converse? Don't strike me as a Converse. I don't know.
Is this no, definitely not Converse. Yeah, Vans. I used to wear Vans when I was a kid. So Vans.
Laces or slip-ons?
Laces.
Okay, are you just default laces or do you pattern your laces?
Default. Yeah, I go under. Do you go over?
Go over. I love that.
I respect it.
That's such a good question, bro.
It is.
And
It
you know what?
is.
I might have to add that into the thing. You know, that under over thing is a real thing. I fully go over. Like my whole life, I've gone over, bro. Everything goes over, bro. It has to go
Yeah,
over.
yeah,
No, I
yeah,
love that
yeah, yeah.
question. So, are you a person that likes customized shoes, or are you straight factory settings?
Not so much, not so much on the custom things, but personally, but there's some customizers that are amazing, and I really, love their work. It's just, yeah, not exactly for me, I
Very
guess.
diplomatic answers right there. Retro or innovation?
Retro.
Obviously. Socks or barefoot?
Socks.
Comfort or style?
And high socks, not low socks. No low
I hear
socks.
you, bro.
Important
That is
question.
the devil's work
High
right there,
socks.
man. Low socks are there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's dirt right there, bro. I
yeah.
hate that stuff. Comfort or style?
Style all day.
I respect it. I respect it. Fresh and clean or beaten and battered?
um not beat, but doesn't have to be the freshest. I'm not like crazy on clean, keeping my shoes pristine, but I don't like beat shoes either, so an in between.
You're in between. I might
Mm.
let you off. I might let you off. Um, Washing machine or hand wash your shoes?
I used to do washing machine, but nah, I'm not taking those risks anymore. That was before. I'm not doing that anymore.
You get me? When the price point went up, bro, you had to invest.
Yeah,
You had
exactly,
to invest.
exactly,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like you have to invest, bro. Alright, lows, mids, or highs.
No mids. And it depends on the shoe. Air Force One lows,
You
Dunk
gotta take
highs.
one, man. I ain't letting you do this again. I ain't letting you do this again, Dennis, bro. Do your thing, bro.
uh, um, let's go highs.
Do
Let's go
your
highs.
thing, bro. That's what I like to see. And the last question I'm gonna ask you in this section: triple blacks or white on whites?
Probably triple black. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Congratulations,
Yeah.
SneakerDenn. You have completed your quick fires and fairly unscathed as well. Like fairly unscathed. But then, yeah, I said I was gonna ask you um about Virgil, man. And obviously, like, rest in peace, Virgil, man. He was an absolute titan of industry, man. Like somebody that really inspired like a complete generation. But I wanted to ask you about his relationship or his connection with Kanye, because obviously in the last like year or so, Kanye has had like a very very interesting time of it. His relationship with Adidas and all the various different things have gone on in terms of statements that have been made and apologies that have been made and things that have happened and relationships broken down or relationships restored. Like in your opinion, is there a Virgil without a Kanye?
I don't like, honestly. I'm not a historian on that aspect, so like I would only go off what I've heard. But I guess like my personal opinion is that Virgil ended up being so much more than just like the the guy that became famous thanks to
Mm,
Kanye. So I definitely say yes, there would be a Virgil without the Kanye, because like because of the just the huge things that he's
mm.
achieved in fashion. So yeah.
I respect that. I respect that. Um, so we're coming to the last question, and it's around a term that gets a lot of it just gets a different opinion from different people, and garners a different reaction. Some people see the term sneakerhead, right? And we're talking about the term sneakerhead. Some people look at it and they're like, ah, that's a gateway term, or gatekeepers use that term, and people are holding it back, and it reminds me of not being accepted. And some people look at it as being part of a community, and like that's what brings me into the community. In your opinion, what does the term sneakerhead, what does it even mean?
It means well, it means that you look at people's shoes before you look at their face, I think, first of all.
One honey.
And that's a big one. It means you pay attention at what people are wearing on the tube, and in the airport you notice that, you know, that's being a sneakerhead. No, but um I'd say I'd say um well, I'm wondering how much of being part of the community plays into being a sneakerhead or not. Like, can you be a sneakerhead and not be in the sneaker community? Um, I guess you can. I mean, yeah, I guess you can. I
I
guess
think
you
you can.
can. There are people that collect and just love shoes, and, you know, don't really interact with other people in the space. So, yeah, I guess you can. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just being truly, I think being a sneakerhead is being truly passionate about you know, your choices of footwear, whether when you buy them or when you're about to wear them, and it and sneakers being your main thing in like clothing, which is the case for me, for
Mm.
example. Like, I love, obviously I love just drip in
Mm.
general, like, but for, you know, I'm like a fish in the water when it comes to sneakers, choosing like the colors that I'm gonna want to wear, or the silhouette or something. So I guess like if sneakers are the first on your list of like clothing choices, and that you're very conscious of your choices when you buy and wear shoes, yeah, that's enough to be a sneakerhead. Like,
I
yeah,
respect
doesn't
it.
have to be gate kept more than that.
I respect it. I respect it. And with all of that being said, SneakerDenn, are you a sneakerhead?
I think it's fair to say that I am.
I think you're probably right. I think the room behind you, the stack of boxes to the
Yes.
ceiling, probably probably certifies that. But bro, do you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna say, SneakerDenn, you are a 100% Kicks Chronicles certified sneakerhead, bro. All day, every day.
I
You get me? I don't know.
appreciate
I don't
you.
know. I don't know what that means in terms of like validity, but it is what it is, man. We're giving it out. So yeah, no,
Thank
I
you.
respect
Thank
it. I
you.
respect it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you once again so much for being a part of this, man. I can't tell you how much it means to me, bro.
Thank you.
like,
Thank you for having me.
bro.
That was fun. Good
No, no,
vibes.
I
Good
appreciate it.
vibes.
I appreciate it. Please, like, tell the millions and millions of people that are gonna watch this. Just, just let them know what you got going on, how they can get involved, how they can support.
So to the millions that are
The
watching.
millions.
I'm yeah, most active on Instagram. You know, follow me on Instagram at SneakerDenn. I post, you know, dope shoes that you've probably never seen before. I post informative content. I post stuff for sale, obviously. If you want to get involved and get some SneakerDenn in your collection, and then getting active on YouTube, same idea, you know, kind of uh, sharing knowledge and passion on there as well. And obviously, stay tuned for my brand Outsole, new stuff coming soon. So
Amazing,
yeah.
amazing, amazing. People, make sure to go light him up on YouTube. I'll make sure to tag him on the video and on all subsequent content. So yeah, you can guys can just go on and hit that subscribe button, man, and really
Yes, sir.
support my bro. Once again, yeah, this has been amazing. I love this conversation. It's such an interesting aspect of the sneaker culture, man. Talking to collectors, talking to people that have an interest in vintage, man. This is something that I've been wanting to do for such a long time. So yeah, thank you so much for answering the call, bro, and honoring the invite. I
Thank
really
you, man.
appreciate it.
Thank you, and I hope we get to meet soon,
Bro,
in
no, I
person.
would absolutely
Definitely,
love to. I would absolutely love to, man. Yeah, we'll definitely make that work, man. We'll definitely make that work.
for sure, for
People,
sure.
this has been another episode of Kicks Chronicles. It's your sneaker and lifestyle podcast. We've been here today with the amazing, the illustrious SneakerDenn. He's been in the building. He's given us it all, and it's been amazing. Can't lie. Everybody like, comment, subscribe, all of that great stuff. And yeah, man, continue to support us and we'll continue to produce dope content. And yeah, until I see you, man, down the road, from myself, Big PROZECH, and from Sneaker Dennis, stay blessed, man.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Kicks Chronicles. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, rate, review, and all that good stuff. And remember, full video version is available on YouTube, audio versions available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.